I will not give this up to go to the RC Pro, and here is why. So 6 years ago, I started having clients ask me more about drone video, drone photography, and so I ultimately had to get into it. The first drone I picked up was the Phantom 3. The Phantom 3 required to use your phone. You plugged in your phone onto the controller and you would be flying nicely, and all of a sudden you'd get a phone call. And then you're like, no, I am flying this thing. I cannot get a phone call. Then I moved over to the Phantom 4 pretty quickly. And the Phantom 4 actually had a smart controller with it. It was a big, clunky thing, and it was an Android-based platform. It almost looked like a cell phone, but attached to it. But no cell service. You did not get those phone calls during flight, and it was awesome. It was proprietary. It was something that was needed when it came to doing this professionally and not having any kind of error while you're flying. Loved it. Then I moved on to the Mavic 2. The Mavic 2 had it wasn't called the Pro RC, it was called the Smart Controller. The Smart Controller actually looked more like this. Black, beautiful. You had to flip up the antennas and you had good, decent range with it. It was a nicer, more intuitive controller. It also offered things like full HDMI output where you could do that as a monitor. Guess how many times I did that? It's amazing. 0. I did it 0. I never used the HDMI out. And this is a guy who would do it in front of clients, and the clients really didn't care to see it on a big monitor. It wasn't a big deal to see it on a big monitor. This was enough to show them what it looked like. So fast forward, a few months ago, I picked up the MAVIC3, and I looked at picking up the Pro RC because obviously I went from the Smart Controller, which was a Pro controller for the Mavic 2. So hey, I better do it for that. It's $1,200. I picked up the Mavic 2 Smart Controller for only like $600-700 back in the day before everything started getting hiked up. So $1,200 I had to spend to get it for the Mavic 3. Well, I was gonna buy it, but right after I purchased, this started to go on sale for $309, and it works on the Mavic 2. It also works on the Air 2S, the Mavic Mini 3, I believe. And I thought $309, I'll give it a shot and see how it works. Here is a huge difference I will tell you right away on this controller. And it kind of scared me at first, but it is super light. I mean, you hook up your neck strap right here, and I still do that. I always have a neck strap on. And I'm thinking, okay, this thing is very flimsy and light. But once it's around my neck, wow, it does not weigh down. I kind of forget that it's over and on my neck. Sounds cheap, like an old Atari game, right? But it's actually more solid than you think. Pretty durable as well. The other thing that concerned me was there is no external antenna. Now, with the Pro controller or the Smart Controller on the Mavic 2, you have that external antenna, which says, hey, I'm gonna get further distance, better reception, so I can fly it a lot further. Well, this doesn't have it. That was a concern. And I went to go fly this, and I flew this a lot farther than I flew the Mavic 2. Now I don't have this antenna sticking out and in the way because it would flip up or flip a little bit down. You'd have to have it weird, and now it's not in the way. You also have these programmable buttons just like you did with the Mavic 2 Pro controller and the Mavic 3 Pro controller. The only thing you don't have is you don't have a full HDMI out like you would. Like I said earlier, I never used the HDMI out nor needed to. And I can record things directly on here with the internal SD card. So I can do that, and then I can show clients in a very low resolution, kind of what that footage looks like. And we don't really have to go back over onto a big monitor. So I've never had issues with that. This thing is light, it's durable, the features inside are awesome, it's programmable. You've got your hard buttons for record and for the photos. The reception is amazing. $309. By the way, do not make the mistake of putting a screen protector on any of these LCD screens or any LCD screen. Do not put it on your phone as well. So the difference is if you put it on here, you're actually getting a glare, or you can do it where you get one that's more matte and then the image isn't as clear. For $309, I can afford to drop this a few times and get a new one if I have to, but the screen is pretty durable. It is clear, it is clean, it is bright. In the summer, bright outside, I did not have a glare or an issue. Otherwise, you can actually go under a tree, go in your car, fly somewhere in shade, and you're not gonna have that issue when you're flying, so it is amazing. It's awesome that you can just switch this pretty quickly to go to cinema, to sport mode, to standard, pretty easily when it comes to the flight modes. Everything is tangible and easy, and most importantly, you're not getting phone calls, you're not getting interruptions, and if you need internet connection, just use your phone as a hotspot and then log in right here, and then you can use all those features. So the reason I wanted to make this video is a lot of people, like myself from the last drone that I owned, went out and bought the most expensive thing, but DJI did something amazing. They gave us options. They gave us the option to actually now have something that's more affordable and still professional when it comes to flying a drone. So if you have a Mavic 3, an Air 2S, a Mini 3, well, this is an excellent controller to use, and you can use it for all of them and program them to go right in and play with it, or use it for business. Sometimes it's to play with it. If you're interested in purchasing this controller, I have links right below for that. It doesn't cost you any extra, but I do get a small commission when you do click and use that link to purchase this. So if you want to hear more about the Mavic 3 and how I use my cinema settings, please subscribe and like and make a comment saying, hey, I want to hear more, Jared, about the Mavic 3 and the cinema settings that you use when it comes to real estate photography and video. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like the video, and I will see you in the next video. Watch whatever YouTube tells you to watch after this. I'm sure it's important.